From Vietnam, they had to come here by boat. So the conditions on the boat was they had about 40 people on the boat. It was 8 meters by 3 meters, and jam packing 40 people onto this boat. So you can imagine how packed and everything was. I think my parents said that it was about 3 days on the water to go to Malaysia. That's where they went for refugee camps, and from there they were seeking, which country would offer them. They were either America, Australia, Germany, Italy, so them countries. So they were just waiting until they had someone, a country would be able to pick them up, and Australia was the first choice. And then I guess from Malaysia to Sydney, it was just a plane ride over. But from that, my parents had me. I came over to Australia at 2 months old. And I guess in the first few months, my parents were in the refugee centres in Villawood. So, there were a lot of Vietnamese refugees as well, like coming around that time as well. So they kind of seeked comfort and guidance and support from fellow Vietnamese refugees. So I guess in the beginning they did that for a while, and then they moved on to, after a while they moved on to a place in Cabramatta that they stayed with one of their fellow refugees. And then I guess from then on, just trying to get get a living for like my dad was trying to work to provide a living for me, essentially. So I guess it was just hard. I mean, there's one of the difficulties was the language barrier. I mean, having no encounter with English at all. He only seeks guidance with Vietnamese refugees. And I mean, the suburb that we live in now, it's heavily known for being inhabited by Vietnamese refugees. So it was a bit of comfort as well to be surrounded by fellow Vietnamese. And there'll be some people that have lived in Australia for longer, so they'll be able to provide, help and support for those that have just arrived, I think.
So what kind of work did you find?
It was just factory work. I mean, he's, countless times he've told me that, he would love to study. When he came here, he would love to become, he was a teacher back in Vietnam. He taught maths, and he was a soccer, a sports teacher as well. So he wanted to, continue on, but he couldn't because he knew he had to, provide financial support for his, young family. So he basically did factory work in the beginning. But yeah, he's told me countless times that he would have loved to, further his education, become a teacher, something like that. Yeah. So
that was, at the beginning, what do they do now? Or what?
Well, because they worked so long in factory work, it has put a strain on their health. My dad's got chronic back pain, so he does a bit of work on the side, just like he does soccer refereeing. So he just does the sideline refereeing on the weekends, and I guess his full-time job is looking after 6 kids.
Oh my! Okay, so you weren't the last. You were the...
No, I'm the first child of 6 girls. So I guess it's a bit of a strain for my dad and my parents to look after 6 girls and try to raise them up properly.
Did other members of your family follow, or did you have family here at all before?
Yeah, well, most of my mum's cousins came here, so we've got all my mum's cousins here. But my parents' siblings, they haven't arrived here. I have asked them why they haven't come to Australia or why they didn't escape Vietnam. And he basically said that they were too scared to flee because they were scared that they would get caught by the Vietnamese government and they would get punished for that. One of my uncles did get caught, and on the third time he was lucky to be able to escape to Australia. He got caught first time, got put into jail, and then escaped again, but out of desperation. That's what they do. But I mean, he's happier now, living in Australia. I've got my mum's cousins also living in America as well. So, but most of them are here in Sydney. I went to Bonnyrigg Public School. Me and my 5 other sisters went to Bonnyrigg Public School as well. And then from public school we went to Bonnyrigg High School, just down the road. So we all went there, and you know, I've got 3 sisters still left in high school. Me and Bonnyrigg Primary School was pretty multicultural. There was a mix of Aussie kids and Asians, and then also Serbians and Italians and stuff. So it was very multicultural, which was pretty good because growing up you kind of experience all that as well.
And what were your aspirations growing up? Did you want to get in the medical field, or is this something that was just really encouraged? Or?
Well, when I was growing up, I really wanted to do something with food. I guess, my parents kind of brought us up with food and, food being important. But then as soon as I grew up a little bit more, like during high school, I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. And then, towards the end of HSC, I wanted to do research. So I felt, I might as well put something back into the community that has helped my parents, I guess. So just, helping out any way I can, just making a positive effect on the community, and just doing the best I can do, really.
And why cancer research specifically?
I don't know. So I'm doing my PhD in cancer research, and it just kind of I've kind of stumbled upon the project. So my project involves doing cancer research involving drug treatment and also the immune system. So those 3 things in the medical field are what I'm interested about. But I think just because it's just a complex disease, and it's just disheartening when you see someone affected by cancer. Realistically, I don't know if there's going to be a cure, but with what I want to do is hopefully try to help people, make them respond better to treatment, or minimize the side effects that they experience and stuff like that. So I mean, hopefully there is a cure, but realistically, I think any way that we can do to help them out is beneficial, I think. I mean, it's hard to balance the old traditional ways of what my parents were brought up with to the westernized way. But, what I hope for with my kids is that they appreciate, where they've come from, what has happened for us to be where we are now. I mean, that's what my dad has installed onto us. Be grateful for what has happened now, considering the consequences that he kind of went through. I mean, when I think about it, my parents left that boat when they're about mid-20s, and I'm like almost getting there, and I'm like, I can't imagine getting on a boat, say being pregnant, for example, with me, and then also, starving, having lack of water, being cramped, having heaps of people sick around, around me on the boat. So I can't imagine going through that. So I guess it's hard. I'll never be able to understand the true extent of what my parents did to get here, but in a way, for us to be successful, they've kind of reached their goal in what they wanted to achieve. You know, providing that good future for their family. So I think pretty much all my sisters are kind of doing that as well. You know, just doing the best that they can. I mean, it doesn't have to be in medical field. I mean, my dad's not one of those typical Asians. You know, you have to become a doctor, you have to become, you know, a lawyer. You know, he's more like, do what you like, do what drives you, do what, you know, what passionates you. And just, you know, you'll be the best that you can ever be. So I think, you know, that's a good mentality, I think. So I mean, like seeing his kids succeed means that he's kind of succeed as well. Yeah.